Settle down.
Ha ha ha. Good morning. We're back. I hope you've been waiting for me. In the End Zone, episode 2, week 1 of football just wrapped up. We're coming to you, talking to you. But before we jump into it, let's talk a little bit about how we're doing. You know, Zach, how was your week, man?
It's been a crazy fucking week, to be honest with you. Last week we worked 4 days, and I worked 52 combined hours. You do the math on that. That's
it's like 6 hours,
13
right?
hours. 13 hours daily. It's one of those fucking weeks, man. I didn't work out at all, didn't sleep. I probably slept like a combined 15 hours until Friday. And I came home, napped for 3 hours, and then slept for 10. And then Friday, I basically just slept. Saturday, I woke up, then watched football for the whole day. Literally the whole fucking day. It was a pretty good Saturday day of football. Oklahoma won. Boise State didn't, but that wasn't shocking. And then I kind of just prepared for the 49ers game, which was honestly more shocking than I think anything that happened over the weekend. I was not expecting them to blow out the Steelers as bad as they did, but that was a good outcome. And then honestly, the last 2 days have just been working. So at least I was able to actually work out these last 2 days, which has been nice. But I'm just trying to get back into a schedule. And I don't know, man. I've been learning a lot in my job, which has been cool. And I really like the people I work with, so I can't really complain other than the hours.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude.
Yep. And what about you?
Week was pretty slow, but honestly, you know what? No, I take that back. Week actually went by pretty quickly. Parents came in during the weekend. That was always a good time. We went to the beach, I think, at Newport around what day was that? Thursday or something like that, I think.
Yep.
Which was really, really good. Wednesday was interesting for sure because that's when my parents got in. They told me to meet them in downtown Disney. I said sure, and
right after the pod, huh?
Yeah, right after the pod, I quickly got dressed and I went and I was ready to go.
You were literally like rushing out the door when we were wrapping up. So you were like, guys, gotta go, gotta blast.
Well, they had food waiting for me. They had drinks and food. My dad actually got hammered, which was really, really odd. So that was kind of crazy. He fell, which was hilarious. Yeah, no, he fell. It was really funny. And then some random guy. No, it's not. I mean, that's what seven double captain and cokes do to you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But what was actually funny is on our walk back to my parents' hotel room, we were talking about, my parents and I were talking about the podcast a little bit, and this random guy, because we were talking about the football and all that, and Thursday night football, and this random guy behind me, he was all like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I heard podcasts, like you have a podcast? And I was like, yeah, it's called Settle Down Podcast. And he looked it up and then apparently started watching it right then and there and listening to it. And I was all like, sweet, there we go.
Let's go.
So that was fun. And then I just spent
baby.
Exactly. And then I just spent the weekend in Disney with my parents, which was fun. It was a good time. And that's about it. That was pretty much my weekend. That was my week. Good overall family time.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. What about you, Keaton?
My week wasn't like super eventful. I like Tuesday we recorded. Really nothing happened. I think Thursday though, this guy came into my work and he and I were talking football a little bit and he's like, yeah, I'm starting to like finally pay attention. I'm like, oh, what team you like? He's like, Seahawks. I'm like, cool. Like we can talk a little bit about it while I'm like pulling up his account. And we start talking and I'm like, yeah, I actually have a podcast with my buddies where we're like doing football now. And he asked me about it. And he's like, are you a big Seahawks fan? I'm like, I'm just a big football fan, but yeah, specifically Seahawks. And he's like, you know, do you think it's doable that like we could continue the success? And he's like, do you think Gino's the guy? And I was like, yeah, dude, I've spent like a lot of time watching film. I think Gino's going to ball out this game. And I was like, you know, I almost feel like it's a trap game, but it's like Seahawks are too damn good to lose this game. There's just no way. And so he's like, sick, man. Well, you sound like you know a thing or two. Write down your podcast name. So I gave him the podcast name. And then
Oh.
obviously Seattle gets obliterated on Sunday. And I'm like, fuck, I hope this guy just doesn't tune in.
112 yards of passing. One
Don't
passing
let's
touchdown.
hey.
0 interceptions,
You know,
2 sacks, and a QBR of 86.3. Could have been worse.
he didn't
Not
it could have
ideal.
been worse. Yeah. But Saturday
God, though.
Saturday worked. And then dude, I went to end zone.
Your fucking face, bro. There's no.
I don't know what happened there.
Dude.
Dude.
I said not like Glock though, and Ed
Oh.
goes. Anyway, sorry.
Dude,
then?
I got so Saturday I worked till about 3:15, whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go to end zone because that's where everyone's at. First of all, it's the first game of the year. We're playing a good team, and honestly, the game was close to a sellout. I get to end zone. This place is packed.
Mm-hmm.
I walk outside, dude. I can barely like maneuver around people. So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna go get a drink. Dude, I get into end zone. I waited there for 27 minutes. There were 3 people in front of me, but the whole bar was packed. And I'm just sitting there. It's hot.
Did you just
Dude,
set a timer and knew it was exactly 27 when you got the fucking drink?
I looked at my watch.
yeah.
Well, when I walked in, I looked at my watch because I was like, I want to make
Okay.
sure I have enough time for the game.
Right.
I'm a fucking moron because I thought Sean and Cody were gonna stay. They just dipped. So
Oh,
I didn't
no.
even know that they had left. So I'm still waiting to order my beers. So I get 2 tall Cali Creamans and a purple Viking. I spent $30.
What the fuck?
And then I find out that they left. And I'm like, oh fuck. I'm looking at Wyatt and I'm like, dude, I gotta chug this shit. I put down 1 Cali Creamin and I'm about to puke. So I just start down in the second one. I get about halfway and I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna leave it for someone else. So I wasted like $8 a beer.
Jesus,
and then
man.
Hey man.
And then I go to the
Nice.
tailgate real quick. I go to the tailgate. Sean and Cody are there. I'm like, cool, they've got food. I'm gonna grab a bite. I grab this like little piece of steak. I go to eat it. I turn around. Sean and Cody have left again.
No.
And I'm like, no fucking way, man. I ended up catching up and we watched the BSU game and they lost. But yeah, man, my week was just
man.
yeah, that was just a funny end to the week, which was pretty mundane other than Sunday. So yeah.
Fair enough, man.
Well, sick,
Did
man.
you get to
Well,
witness the downfall of Sean this weekend?
no, what do you mean?
You didn't hear what happened?
Was this downtown?
No. It was right before, right before that. We'll say off air, but my guy got a little obliterated. But moving on.
Yeah. Well,
Moving on.
well, we had man, we had a weird week of football.
It was very
dude,
strange. It was
Is this is weird. Getting into it,
Very, very weird, man.
yeah,
it was
getting
not what I
into
was
it.
expecting.
Yeah.
That's for
No.
sure.
I-
There's a lot of questions. For
Yeah,
sure.
I was sitting there thinking that what we had on paper was like, yeah, this is, all of us are kind of like smart about it. No,
My God,
like
dude.
the fucking Bengals, for example.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, we'll jump into the fantasy recap real quick because I think, one of the biggest things was drafts are so important, but drafts are also very much like an NFL draft where it's just you don't know what player you're going to get.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
in the sense of this, it's just it was so weird to watch a player, for example, like T fucking Higgins. Like
What did he end up getting?
Zero.
Zero.
He got 0?
T. Higgins
Eight-
ended up with 0 points.
He had 8 targets, 0 receptions.
Holy shit. Did he drop a bunch of passes? Or was
No,
Joe Burrow
none-
just that off?
None were catchable. There's one that was catchable and
Wow.
it bounced off a face mask of another player. So yeah, it was sloppy, but well, I'm curious, Anthony, how did your team do this weekend? Because I did
Oh,
not pay much
oh.
attention to anyone else's.
Pull it up. You
I
can.
That's the plan.
It was
Yeah.
it was
zoom in
rough.
here.
It wasn't good at all.
Not a great Sunday for Bubby.
There it is. There it is.
Ah, Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
72 points. I didn't even see that.
Oh, it was bad.
Wait.
It was really
Scroll down to his
bad.
bench.
My bench almost had more points than my starting lineup.
Ah, ah. And you had 3 points from Tyler Boyd. Oh, Zay Flowers is nice though.
Yeah, no, I have Zay Flowers
Yes,
now
he is.
starting over Marquise Brown. But let's just start with the obvious here. Fucking Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones against the fucking Cowboys. 40-0.
I
Never
Couldn't
seen
get anything off.
like
At
that.
least I will say one thing about Daniel Jones is that I am okay. It's still really bad, but he was able to still run the ball a little bit. He was able to run the ball himself a little bit, getting those points off. He was still able to kind of, I'm not even going to say squeeze by, just run straight into the Cowboys. But like I guess that's somewhat of a positive, but I feel like that's the only reason why I got these points too, though. Like
Right.
it was, and that was not good. Ramondre, he didn't have a bad game. He really didn't. Najee, I honestly was not expecting him to do well at all.
yeah. Well, against that defense too.
Yeah, against that Niner defense, I wasn't expecting too much out of him this week. Devontae Adams
got
is someone I was really pissed about. I was so pissed about that, and Jimmy G constantly giving it to Jacoby Myers, which had a big boom week. Huge. And AJ Brown, not exactly what I was expecting, but it's fine. And Dallas Goedert. Let's look at that. 0 points. There's another 0 point. Ramondre got around 15.
Okay, I just looked it up and Zeke got 7. So
One
Ramondre
target.
definitely got more points.
One target for Goddard.
Yeah. Well,
Horrible.
you know, in the sense of that, I think we'll talk a little bit more about it, but I think Philadelphia was just, dude, they look sloppy. A win's a win.
Bro.
The win's a win, but Jalen Hurts looked like 2021 Jalen Hurts, and so
Super Bowl hangover, man. Super Bowl.
it's something like that. It is something like that.
That game was an emotional roller coaster for me. Zach can attest to that. He was watching me go through the emotions. Like that game was
funny game, man.
It was a great game. I'm not upset with the Patriots at all because they played great. I was so impressed with Mac Jones, honestly, that game, and I loved it.
He looked great.
And if we were able to play that well against the Eagles, I see great things. But it's also tough because the Patriots have either the hardest schedule or the second hardest schedule this season. So
yeah, well,
yeah, they play a lot of good teams.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones to me, and speaking on bus players, Daniel Jones to me is one of those players where, you know, to me, he never did anything that like was fancy. Like it wasn't like he showed out or balled out or anything. If you look at his stats for like the last 3 years, he's just been kind of mediocre. Right. And, you know, I think, you know, I'm playing devil's advocate. I wonder if the same effect lies for Seattle right now, which is why they got stomped out by the Rams. I wonder if Daniel Jones and the Brian Daboll time was just a fluke, because the second that Brian Daboll found out that Daniel Jones could actually run pretty well, like he's sneaky athletic. The second he found that out, he started scheming up plays, and I don't think teams knew.
Athletic.
I do not think teams knew how to play the Giants. But now you think about Dallas, who obviously has a nasty defense, but also someone that had a full, you know, offseason to scheme for Daniel Jones, who to me strikes me as one-dimensional. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that he played the way he did, but I'm not surprised that they lost in such a shitty fashion. I don't think that team is as hyped as they should be.
Right.
So
Daniel Jones is 6'5", 230, and he runs like, I don't know. If I was to guess, he runs on the field like he runs a 40-point or a 4.7 40-yard dash. Don't know what his actual 40-yard dash is, but he's actually pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, let's talk about your team, man.
On a positive note.
First of all,
here we go.
Mitch didn't take out Travis Kelce. Dude,
I will say that
really bad.
Pisses me off that he did not take Travis Kelce out. He's
not
aware.
I'm like, dude,
he's not aware.
Somehow always squeaks into the fucking playoffs every fucking year.
Every year,
like even
lowest point scored and just
what'd you say?
I said lowest point scored almost every year. and he just
Yep,
somehow makes it in
exactly.
every year. He
Dude,
made it
that's
to
what I'm saying. It's
championship
like
last year, did he not?
I think so. Yeah.
No,
It was him and Alex.
was it him and Alex?
I believe so.
No,
Yeah.
no. I think he made it to the
I thought it was
semis.
Alex
But
and
even like with
Diego.
like a mishap like that, it's like he loses this game not because of that, but if it was close, it would have been. But then he squeaks in the playoffs and does really well, and it's like, God, sometimes fantasy just pisses me off because it's like, is it really based off of fucking talent, or is it based off
Yeah.
of luck? And you can just throw whoever in. Because a mishap like this, it's like, okay, like that could be a big ass deal. You lose fucking 15 points maybe from a fucking tight end that you could pick up. Now, granted, this score doesn't fucking matter. He wasn't going to win. But if it was a close game and you miss the playoffs by, I don't know, 10 points, if you're tied with the last team, it's like, dude, that was the reason why you fucking didn't make it. So, I don't know. It didn't necessarily piss me off because I was playing him, but it was more like, dude, I want our league to be competitive. And that was like something I noticed. It's like, these mishaps are like reasons why you're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, Mitchell never updates his
talking-
team anything.
Right. No, I agree.
He doesn't manage his roster at all.
Right.
No,
Talking
and
about my team, man.
yeah. Well,
Yes,
first and
yes.
foremost, let me just make a point.
My
I know
God.
you already said it, but Tyreek had nearly all of his points. That's to me,
Mhm.
that's crazy.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll just give like some of the highlights. Obviously, fucking Tyreek Hill was a huge highlight. Jake Elliott was
Let's pull up
crazy.
his stats.
Scoring 30 points from your fucking kicker and defense is wild to me.
Yeah.
And then some of like the players that disappointed me were Jahmyr Gibbs. I thought he was gonna get at least like 12 to 18, somewhere in that range. And then Darren Waller, man, 6 points from him, and I reached on him, and I'm still high on him. But I know that the game's kind of a fluke, but that really kind of like, I don't know, didn't really like throw me off of my fantasy game plan or like really like what I'm thinking in the future. But it definitely was one of those things where it's like, this is not how I saw it going down. Like I wasn't
Right,
yeah.
predicting him to get fucking 6 points against a Dallas defense that I know is really good, but they had to score points in order to fucking be in the game. So 6 points was
Yeah.
like unpredictable to me and like really, really something I wasn't expecting. You good?
Yeah, sorry. It was just
Okay.
adjusting my camera.
Yeah, so yeah, it was just something I wasn't really expecting and very unexpected to say the least. And then
Yeah.
just looking at my bench, I feel like once week 4, 5 rolls around, if I can be like 3-2 going into week 5, I just don't really know who the fuck is going to be able to stop me. Because, and I don't mean to say it like arrogantly, but if Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp are scoring 20 points each, and then I get Alvin Kamara, and it really just depends if Kamara is like Kamara. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
you also
but if
have
it's
you have the starting running back now for the Ravens.
Yeah, now I have Gus Edwards. It's really like a boom or bust team. And this week I boomed because it's Tyreek Hill, and next week I could probably bust. So if my players do what they are supposed to do, in my opinion, I should boom and do really well. But they don't, and I fucking bust and got to do some fucking crazy ass challenge. But yeah, I'm just trying to stay positive right now because I know this is how fucking fantasy goes. You get on your fucking high horse, you think your team is good, then someone gets injured or something happens where your team fucking takes. So I think my team looks decent right now. It was a pretty good win. I mean, it's kind of a fluke game. Mitchell scored 49 points. Won't happen again in the season, but I can't complain.
Yeah.
All right, Keith,
Well,
let's move on to yours.
But I will say, like, those mishaps like that with Mitchell
Keaton, you were
are
so
like
close.
Dude.
fluke games in which, or fluke like moments in games where you lose fucking fantasy games. So if like anyone's out here kind of watching or listening and you don't really know a lot about fantasy, always set your lineup. And if a player's going into a full, take him out, put in his backup, put in a different player. You'd rather score 10 than score 0. And not to say anything against Mitch, because Mitch honestly has been probably just as successful as us three. And it happens. I get people get busy, but just those are the mishaps that lose you games.
Biggest advice I have for fantasy: check your lineup twice a week before.
Right.
Check it on Tuesday, I would say, and check it Thursday afternoon before Thursday football.
Yeah. that way you don't have a player that you're not sure is going to play,
Right.
and then you're like,
Exactly.
oh fuck.
I mean, personally, for me, I honestly check it every single day because that's just
Yeah.
me. But I would definitely, if you're like new to it or kind of mediocre, check it at least twice a week,
Yeah.
maybe
My
3
God,
times,
Keaton.
just to be safe before Sunday.
And
Yeah,
I were
Keaton,
rooting for
you were
Okay.
close.
And
We
I
were
were
rooting for you.
bro.
We were rooting for you so hard on that.
We actually
So-
watched that game through and through, blowout and
We
everything.
watched
just
it
to see if
specifically
you could
just
fucking win.
to see if you could win. Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Look
would
at
have turned that
that.
off we would have turned that off at halftime, but we were trying to watch that and see if you could pull out the dub.
Dude,
Well,
you almost
so
won with 0 points from T. Higgins.
dude.
I didn't know he
so-
had 0 points. That's wild.
Well, look, I'll start out. I didn't know, first and foremost, that my team would kind of be hot trash, and but like in my defense, right? T. Higgins 0 points is not going to happen again. That I
No.
can bank on, right? However, Dallas defense is also never going to score 5 points again.
Never.
Tony Pollard is probably always going to be good for 20. That's why I went
Yep.
first overall with him in my round. But like I look at my team and it's almost all disappointments. Even my bench kind of stunk. Cordell Patterson out. He's probably going to my IR.
Christian
Harris
Kirk had
Campbell.
1.9 points.
Dude,
What the
all of my
fuck?
bench had 0 points basically.
Hey, at least both their quarterbacks got more than 4 points.
True, good point.
Fair
So,
enough.
well, and it's like obviously you look on this side, right? No one really performed crazy. Like Amari Cooper could have easily had a bigger game. Evan Ingram
Yeah.
finished at his projection. DK Metcalf had an underwhelming game, but Christian McCaffrey was the guy that carried him.
Mhm.
And for me,
Probably
I
will
was
from
going
Look at Chris Olave though. Chris Olave
True.
though.
true. He had 20 points. He was well above his projected.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at my team and
Wow.
I'm questioning, is TJ Hawkinson fresh off a deal? Is he going to be good? Is Debo Samuel gonna? Because let's call for what it is. Debo did not have a fantastic year last year, and the way he started out this year hasn't also been great. He wasn't.
But I will say with that though, last year I think he was out of shape. This year
Yeah.
specifically, in the one game that we played where we blew out Pittsburgh, he just didn't get the ball that much, and it
Yeah,
kind
and
of
he's
makes
a
sense
yak-
why. Because
he-
I mean, it was a fucking blowout. At one point,
It was.
the Niners had 200 total yards, and Pittsburgh had 1 yard, and this was like
It
5
was
minutes left in the second quarter.
It
Like,
was-
that's
It was
unheard of.
100 it
Unheard
was
of.
199 to 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never seen
Well, it's
anything
the-
like that.
It's not as bad as Seattle. Seattle had, I believe it was 238 yards in the Rams had 238 yards in the second half. Seattle only had 12.
Right.
So it was
Also,
definitely
Brandon Ayuk is not going to do that every single week.
no.
It
And
won't happen.
here's what
He went
here's what I
ballistic,
will
but
say.
It won't happen
here's,
like that every single week.
Here's and I was reading some reports and they were talking about how specifically Patrick Peterson was talking shit about Brock Purdy and saying like, I'm gonna pick him, like he's not all that great. And Brock Purdy was like, yeah, we'll see. And obviously Brandon Ayuk was matched up one-on-one with Pat Pete most of that game. And I imagine Brock Purdy, he's a cocky little fuck sometimes, you know?
He really
And,
is, bro.
yeah,
He's arrogant.
He's arrogant. And I think he targeted Pat Pete knowing, hey, I'm better than you right now. So
So
I
was
will put
Brandon
that ball
Ayuk.
in that. Yeah, and Brandon
Patrick
Ayuk
Peterson,
cooked
you're
him.
not in your prime, brother. I'm sorry to say
No.
it. Like, you're getting old.
Yeah.
No.
I will
So
say, Brandon Ayuk scored 2 touchdowns on him.
he did.
They got a
he
dub on
cooked him.
Patrick Peterson, and with probably the best throw of the game with Brock Purdy and best catch of the game, which was wild. Speaking about catches, we
There it
probably will
is.
get to this game, but that
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson catch, oh my
Yeah.
God.
I've got it
Freaking-
pulled up
we'll
on
talk
Twitter.
about that later, but that just reminded me of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
32.9 will never happen again.
yeah. Well, and I think it's possible. I think he's really a 20 at the most. I think he's like
20.
a 25-point guy. Yeah.
I think he's 20, man.
But that's like, you know, you look at it like fantasy is so unpredictable. And I think week
Mhm.
1 specifically is so unpredictable. I have
Right.
had years where I just like, I'm at work and I draft a player and all of a sudden it turns out that fucking that player is, like Tony Pollard. I got Tony Pollard in the 6th round. I didn't even know. I meant to get someone else. I meant
Last
to
year,
get
right?
Rashad Penny. Yeah, I
Yeah.
meant to get Rashad Penny, and I went on auto draft.
What a
And it
steal.
turns out he's a fucking dog. He was like the 5th best running back last year.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think week 1 is always unpredictable. It's just why I don't care too much about it. But I will say, my girlfriend and I, she had let me watch football all day. I was sulking in the Seattle loss. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to check my phone. I'll turn on the game a little bit. Like, I've got Tony Pollard and the Cowboys defense, but if I lose, it's whatever. And all of a sudden, Cowboys defense gets 2 back-to-back scores. And I tell her, I'm like, babe, can I just like turn this game on till like the start of half or the end of half? And she's like, fine. We turn this on, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, fuck, I could really do this. Another like touchdown by Tony Pollard. I was down by 50 something, 60 points, and I came to within what? Less than 3. I mean,
dude, it almost happened.
Look, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to make the playoffs this year. I can just tell you off my team. But I'm like, you know what? That was exciting. So good week
Right.
1.
So in my other league, though, kind of the opposite happened. So I had a defense, and then he had Stephon Diggs and Garrett Wilson. We were up 50. We ended up losing by 2. That last drive with Buffalo, Stephon Diggs caught a slant. He broke a tackle, went for 20 yards, ended up losing the game because of it. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, that's what I'm saying, though. It's just like little things like that really piss you off with fantasy, but it's also like addicting, and it keeps you going and continuing to come back just because it's just one of those things where it's like it could piss you off like a lot, or you can have like a lot of joy from it. It's like watching a fucking football game like with your favorite team, or watching any sports. But yeah, I don't know. Fantasy definitely makes or breaks your Sundays, which is funny.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it made it for my day, or made my day. Sorry about that for you two, but there's always next week. And I don't think you guys have bad squads. I think you'll bounce back.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
and I think my team's dependent on the success of Geno, and obviously they did not have a great game. One of the
Right.
things I do want to find is, I wanted to highlight, real quick before we move into a little bit of our recap, and I think this is a good segue into it because, we've already talked about our boomer bust players, and obviously I want to talk a little bit more about the players that really busted. I want to highlight this because I think in the sense of Tua, right? I don't think he gets enough credit, and I think he's a very talented passer.
Yeah.
I have to show this game on the line. Dude, this pass to me against JC Jackson.
Here we go.
Look, I'm sorry. Let's can I just game on the line? Oh,
That's a
Look
bad ball.
that is not a bad ball. Are you gonna sit here? You're gonna say that's a horrible ball. Look at
Keaton, look at what he was trying to do, though. He was trying to throw a fucking vertical, in the air type of throw, not a line drive right past. Who is that?
I don't
That's not even-
Tyreek.
No, the cornerback.
Oh,
Davis.
it
Davis.
wasn't JC. I think it's Mike Davis.
No, I thought it was JC too, but that's just, I mean, it's not a fucking horrible throw, but like that's just a bad play on the fucking defensive back. Like if
I
you're
don't
throwing
know.
to the back of the end zone, you want to make it a fucking jump ball, not a line drive. Okay, if he was trying to make it a line drive right there, I'll give him his flowers. Typically, though,
Yeah.
when a quarterback goes like this, he releases it at a high point. He's trying to make the fucking receiver high point the ball. But
Yeah,
also,
but if
Tyreek
you-
Hill isn't really that type of receiver.
And that's the point. I think I truly
Okay, I
think
see it.
I think Tua honestly just has precision. He does not have an arm,
That's
but
fair.
I think he honestly just has that precision aspect to him.
That's fair.
And I if you look, for me, when I watched that whole highlight reel, because I didn't watch the game, but when I watched that highlight reel, I saw that play and I was like, no, that looked intentional, because
Right.
obviously he would have thrown it further in the
Yeah,
back of the
yeah.
end zone. I mean, he pinpointed that.
That's fair.
I also I think it's, just speaks to also the level of Tyreek on how good he is to be able to create separation that fast.
He's got that dog in
They're
him.
going to be a really good team, but
I agree.
that was,
Although their
for
defense
me,
is low key trash, but we'll see.
that's okay. Well, for me, that
In
was
the
my
AFC it might
pass.
be, but not against these NFC defenses.
True.
receivable if they get that far.
This is the other play. This happened last night. This was definitely insane.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh my god, this catch was insane.
Oh, dude.
I mean, it might be the catch of the year already.
Watch how he just.
I've never seen anything
He
like that. He fucking
stays with the
hit
ball the
this
entire
way,
time.
then ripped it out of the air down.
But
Like, I don't
drag
think
it, drag
people
it,
that
Keaton.
don't watch football
Yeah.
understand how hard this is. Like, just with, like, physics. Like, think about it. You're pulling a fucking ball like that and then falling down, getting dragged down by one of the better quarterbacks in the league. You catch it like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, look at that motion.
And that's, dude, that was so impressive. I obviously, like I said, I hadn't watched much of that game last night,
Right.
but I saw I saw actually your post in our group chat saying, "Wow, what a catch!" So I went on Twitter and I saw it. I think about the Odell Beckham, and I think that's such a good, like, kind of how good is that catch compared to this one, but also
Right.
they're two different types of catches. I think just in terms of the hand-eye coordination, to be able to bat the ball to the side and still grab it with the other
Insane.
hand
It's insane, bro.
is Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson is so special. That guy truly is. He
Well,
is a
he
once in a
interviewed-
lifetime talent.
He interviewed after the game just because that, like, created a ton of momentum for the Jets. But
Oh
he
yeah,
interviewed afterwards, and they asked him about it. He's like, to be honest, man, it's just one of those plays where you just go out there and you make a play for your team. You don't practice that shit. And the dude that's, like, interviewing him, he starts laughing. And I'm, like, thinking about it. I'm like, that's the perfect answer. You can never practice that, ever.
No.
Like, look at that. Like, fully extended 4 times. He fully
That's-
extended his arm 4 times.
that's beautiful. I mean,
It
It's
really is.
amazing.
people
If
If
people
you don't
wonder.
watch football, that should be the reason why, right there.
Yeah, and people
I mean, it's
wonder
just beautiful.
how good. Yeah, people wonder how hard it is to play in the NFL at that level. It's like you watch college wide receivers and you're like, God, that player is good. You have to understand how much better these guys have to be in the NFL. The
Oh,
And a
yeah.
wherewithal
top
to
10
know
wide receiver
exactly what,
better too.
and a top 10 cornerback type.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
He
in a
never
time
took
like
his eyes
that,
off.
too.
He,
In New York, bro. In New York.
he never
On
he
9/11.
never took his eye. He never took his eyes off that ball. Not once. Like,
no, he didn't.
stuck
Which
with
is
it.
crazy because, like what you just said, the total opposite of that. These guys are so elite, they should catch almost every single pass in their hands, right? Week by week, we see the same shit. These guys go like this, they take their fucking eyes off the ball, and they drop it. And it's things like
Exactly.
that where it's like Garrett Wilson catches a ball barely looking at it.
Yeah.
It's just, football is just one of those things, man. It's crazy.
I also
The
last
small details to
play.
it is wild.
Yeah, last play I just want to highlight. This is also something. I have questioned whether Brock Purdy is going to be really good. I wondered if it was just a fluke because teams didn't know to scheme against them. And I think this play honestly perfectly sums up, since we're already talking
know what
about
play you're
throws
gonna
and
pull
really
up.
good catches.
Yep.
To me, this play is so beautiful. Oh,
It's
just
amazing.
I mean,
on the
dude,
money.
I mean, good for Brandon
Just-
Ayuk. I mean, that's a fucking crazy throw. But
Yeah.
most receivers aren't catching that. That's just one of those things where it's like that typically probably gets knocked down. Like, if
Yeah,
I'm being
and-
honest,
and
that ball
that's
placement is kind of like Tua. Did he mean to do that?
Who
Like,
knows?
we can give him his flowers, but it's like, did he mean to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I truly
Either
think
way,
players
crazy
like
throw.
players like that don't have the biggest cannons, so they have to work on the
Right.
precision. And I think
Yeah.
those players are precision passers,
Yeah.
and I think that's what makes them special.
I'll talk about it a little
Um,
bit later, but I will say I think
Yeah.
Brock Purdy's most underrated feature is his agility. Dude, he doesn't take sacks. He doesn't take
He's
sacks.
Sneaky athletic. He's
Really
got
is.
that grit and grime.
But
He's got that
moving
grit and
on.
grime.
Week 1
Yeah.
recap, baby.
Ugh.
Should we go to those games that we highlighted last week and explain how our
Yeah.
predictions went?
Absolutely.
so- First one was
Well, you're-
Lions versus Chiefs. I have it pulled up. So Lions
Cool.
versus Chiefs. 6.5 point favorites for the Chiefs. I mean, not a great way to fucking start the year. We thought their
No.
offense might be a little bit slow. With how deep they went into the playoffs last year and missing their best tight end / wide receiver, because that's what he is. Their best weapon in general with Travis Kelce. But I mean, My God, that was a sloppy
Can-
game. I mean,
Can
it
I
was so
add
sloppy.
something?
I mean, I barely watched it just because of my hours, but looking at those highlights, I'm like, that's not the same fucking Chiefs team that we've seen in the past. It's not. And I think
Right.
they might have just started slow. I'm not too worried about them, but I don't know. It just wasn't one of those games where you look and you're like, Patrick Mahomes wasn't that special. They also had, what was it, 4 or 5 drops? Kadarius
Yeah.
Toney himself had 4 drops.
Kadarius Toney had 4 drops.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but it's also like, come on, man, you gotta help your fucking quarterback. Like I
Let me
know
ask
it's
you
week fucking
something.
1, you might have nerves, all this. Your best fucking tight end, best player besides Patrick Mahomes is off the field. Travis Kelce is not playing, but you gotta fucking step up, man. Like to drop 4 passes in the NFL, not acceptable.
And to drop a
Cut him.
pass that results in a pick 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Points
It's
the other
like,
way
dude,
is
it's just one of those
yeah.
games where I wouldn't say it's a fucking fluke, but it's like you don't expect that at all from the Chiefs, and I don't expect that for the rest of the year.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask this then. Let me ask this. Did that game prove that Patrick Mahomes truly just needs Travis Kelce in order to succeed? People are saying that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the next GOAT.
No.
Did that game prove that the only reason why he's up there is because of Travis Kelce? Is that something, or is this just a fluke game? What are we
Fluke
thinking
game,
now with this?
fluke
Because
game.
this is
My counter
this
argument
is
to
interesting
that
now, though.
is that exact topic came up when Tyreek Hill got traded to Miami. When he went to Miami, that exact topic came up. And they were like, he's not
Right.
be able to win without a wide receiver 1. It's Tyreek Hill. It's the combination of all these players. And then he went and won one. And has been fucking productive and successful since. Now,
Travis Kelce's
I will
also
say,
been healthy the entire time, though.
I will
True.
say, if the Chiefs went without Travis Kelce for the rest of the year, they're not a Super Bowl contender. They're not.
No.
I don't think they are
That's
either.
how important he is.
Because
But
Travis
say that
Kelce is the wide
Patrick
receiver 1.
Mahomes-
I get he's a tight end, but
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
literally wide
No, he
receiver
is.
1, though. Like
right.
in my eyes,
To
I
say
think
that
he is
Patrick
the only
Mahomes
receiver.
relies on Travis Kelce for success, no.
Yeah.
No shot.
Yeah, I also think that, in my viewing of games, I think in this sense, Patrick Mahomes has last year especially had to rely on Travis Kelce because he hasn't had consistent wide receivers. And we saw like Christian Watson kind of emerge near the end of the year, but mostly it was Travis Kelce. And I think the reason why you saw the supporting cast do so well under that scheme was because teams specifically would double team Travis Kelce because he's so elusive. You can defend him all you want, but the second that guy gets into open field, there's no tight end more elusive. To me, in NFL
Crazy
history.
good route runner for how big he is.
He is. And,
He is.
when you know that the guy's going to be out, it allows you to scheme a little bit differently. And the Lions have a good defense. It's what they really focused on last year because their offense is good. And I believe that because they didn't have to worry about Travis Kelce, they figured, okay, well, we know Kadarius Toney's going to get a few. He didn't. But who's the best player we have to defend? Sky Moore? Christian Watson?
No, exactly.
So,
and they don't have a running back threat either.
Exactly.
Like
and,
Pacheco, Pacheco's good. He runs the ball hard. He's not a pass catcher.
No,
so it's like
he's
when you take out
an
their
elusive
wide receiver
back.
1 or their best player besides Patrick Mahomes, it's like it's one of those games, like you said, it's super easy to prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that the Lions are a bad team. I think the Lions are a good team. Are they Super Bowl contenders after that? No. Are people overreacting a little bit with the Lions? Maybe. In my opinion,
I don't see a whole lot of overreaction with the Lions and the Lions fans and all that. Well, I like to see it more as huge celebration. They literally beat Super Bowl champions. They did. Totally talk your shit at that point. Absolutely. Fuck it. Like I would if the Patriots beat the Chiefs for week 1. Like I totally would. But I definitely don't think the Lions are Super Bowl contenders though. Like nowhere close to that. But still.
And is it again one of those things where it's like, is that kind of like a Super Bowl what's the word? Super Bowl hangover as well? Like, are
Yes.
the Chiefs still kind of riding it where they're like maybe a little bit cocky going into the season, Super Bowl hangover, maybe last 1 to 2 games, you're missing your best fucking receiver and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where I think there's a lot that adds up to it, and
Right.
Super Bowl hangover makes sense. Now, do I think they're going to lose this week? Probably not. I think they'll bounce back, especially if Travis Kelce plays. But it's just one of those things. Again, like football is just unpredictable. We did not predict that one well. And then just to run through like the rest of the games before we really get into some of the games that we want to talk to or talk about. So
Well-
the other 4 that we talked about last week and gave our predictions to were the Bengals and Browns, Dolphins and Chargers, Cowboys and Giants, and Bills and Jets. Are you guys wanting to specifically talk about one of those?
Well, yeah, I mean, I could talk a little bit about the Bengals.
Yeah. Okay, so I predicted actually the Browns were going to win. I know that you guys predicted the Bengals.
You did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dolphins was a clean sweep for all of us. We picked that. Cowboys and Giants.
I mean, we all said Cowboys.
Yeah,
I
we did.
think we all said Cowboys.
And
We
then
all said
Bills and
Cowboys.
Jets, we all said Bills as well, which is tough.
Mhm.
You
That was a
almost
tough
went
one.
Jets on that one too, Zach.
Yeah, I did. I know.
And I said,
Yeah.
I said
I
it's
can't
fine.
believe they
Hey,
fucking
did-
won without
hey,
Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
I will say,
That's just
I
wild
did
to
say
me.
it was going to be a toss-up. I said that game was
You
going to be a
did.
toss-up, and
You
I
did.
said my gut's telling me Bills, but I want the Jets to
You
win,
did.
but my gut was telling me Bills.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I
going
guess in
back
that
to
sense,
that
I was right,
Bengals
but-
Browns game, Keaton, go for it.
Fuck, man. Well, first and foremost, T. Higgins. You fucking bum. Let's put that
He's
there.
never
right?
done that before, right? There's
No,
no,
way-
no,
that has to be a
no.
first in his
No,
NFL
T. Higgins.
career.
T. Higgins is to me is a wide receiver 1 on like
Yeah.
70% of the NFL teams.
Yep.
Bengals, wet weather. They haven't traditionally been really good in the wet weather, but they are playing in Ohio. I mean, it's the Battle of Ohio, which isn't super like glamorous, but it's a big game where Jamar Chase was shit talking and Myles Garrett was shit talking. There was a lot of chatter all throughout the season
Yeah.
because
What was that? The elves thing.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't
I
get
don't
it.
know, bro. That was whack. I
I
thought that
don't-
was a fake report. I was like, who are you calling
Yeah.
elves?
Yeah. Well, I felt it was, Joe Burrow signs this big contract. He's like, the best way you can fucking prove that you're worth the contract is to, go out and perform. Dude, you didn't perform. You had
Didn't do
80,
anything.
what was it? 84 passing yards, or whatever. How many? 54
let's look it
passer
up.
rating. Obviously Jamar Chase had like 2 catches. T. Higgins had 0. It was sloppy.
Oh my
They
God,
lost
dude.
3-24. It was horrible.
So
Right.
he had 82 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 2 sacks, a QBR 52.2, and a throwing percentage or completion percentage of 45.2, which is horrible. That's one of Joe Burrow's
This is the
one
worst
of
game
his-
he ever played in his career.
one of
Yes.
his worst games, and specifically that completion percentage is kind of shocking because that's like one of his points where he's really good at, like really typically good at.
Yeah.
So
Well,
45%, it's like, woo, what the
I
fuck are
also-
we doing, Joe? Did that money
Yeah.
get to your head?
I don't think that, and I know, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to agree with me on this, but 1 week though, week 1, this is not going to define Burrow,
No.
Chase, and Higgins. It's
they
not.
started out the
They're-
same way last year.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what? They started the same way last year. They were able to bounce back very well from that, and they did great last season. I think that this is just a big fluke. I don't know what was up their ass, but I definitely think they're definitely going to perform better. I think week 2 they're going to come in strong, and I don't know. I think they're obviously going to do way better than this week though. This past week, because that was
Yeah, no, I agree.
it's pretty embarrassing. It was embarrassing for like I was shocked. I was shocked to see.
And
Yeah.
like I said, dude, when I looked it up, I was like, I know they typically struggle against the Browns, but to be 1-11 in the last 12 games, that's outlandish.
Yeah.
Like you're 1-11 and you've been in the AFC Championship or have made the playoffs and gone into a deep run the last 3 years now. 1-11 against one of the worst franchises that the NFL has to offer. Maybe they're kind of turning things around now, but recently they've been one of the worst fucking franchises, if not the worst.
Yes.
So it's like you shouldn't be losing all those games, and like that was just one of those things where I think it's not predictable. The Browns on paper are not better than the fucking Bengals, but it just lines up. It just lines up every single time. They just match up really well against the Bengals for some reason, and the Bengals love to start slow. And I don't think the money got to Joe Burrow's head, but it is weird that he threw for 82 fucking yards.
I also think I don't know if he's fully healthy, and we saw how it started last year. Same way, they just started out really sloppy, and then they just took him like 2 or 3 weeks to really get it going. He didn't play any preseason, and obviously it's a revamped offense a little bit. The defense is a little bit more, they just kind of stayed the same. But I think it's just honestly just hangover, not playing any preseason games. He looked like he was just getting his first reps in because he hasn't played for 3 months. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where you just kind of look on and you just move on. But T. Higgins kind of fucked me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and then
Dolphins Chargers wasn't. It's not really like one of those games where it's like I gotta highlight any specific thing.
Exactly what we expected.
It was a fucking shootout,
Hammer
man.
the fucking over. Hammer the over. Whoever's the better quarterback for the game.
Offense.
Wins. Whoever's the better quarterback, and I'm going to put that in quotes because that's been this big-ass argument that we have and everyone has. Whoever's the better quarterback in the game was going to win. And Tua proved it. He was the better quarterback in that game. Is he the better quarterback?
Clearly Tua is the better quarterback over Herbert.
Man. I might be jumping. Put me possibly
Tua is better than Herbert.
Dude, I'm kind of leaning.
Look,
for the first time ever. I've seen enough, dude. I don't know if this season goes the way I think it will for both those teams based off of what we just watched. If the Dolphins go deep, Chargers don't win anything yet again, you have to say that Tua is better. You have to. And that's one of those things where I think, I'll admit I'm wrong if I am wrong. But I could see it happening, which is wild. I didn't think I would ever admit that.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I want to highlight this because I have always been on Tua's side. I also believe that brains is bigger than brawn, and to me, Justin Herbert just sometimes lacks those mental, he lacks a little bit of the mental. Emmanuel Acho tweeted this: Tua Tagovailoa down by 4 with the game on the line, 5 for 7, 71 yards and a touchdown. Justin Herbert down by 2 with the game on the line, grounding, sack, short pass, sack, game over. Now, that's subjective. It's not saying that Justin Herbert choked or sold or whatever the fuck. I mean, he kind of did, but the offensive lines are different and the scenarios are different. But it does highlight. We have seen time and time again that Justin Herbert, especially last year in the playoffs, let's not forget, they went up 28-0 and they choked. It's not like Justin Herbert doesn't.
Complacent.
He doesn't have a history of winning when it matters, but he does have a history of losing when he's up big. And not that they were up big, but his back was up against the wall and he didn't perform the way people hype him up to be. And I wonder if that's just something we can expect going forward. But high scoring, really
but
fun.
We called that one.
Yeah, those are gonna be good teams. Cowboys, Giants.
Speaking about this next game and high scoring for one team and one team only, the Cowboys. Holy fuck. Holy shit, dude. I mean, Dallas was 3-point favorites, not 40. Dude, I've never seen it.
Faux.
I've never
I don't think I've ever seen a game ever like that. Ever. Ever.
You guys realize
that was the biggest ass whooping I've ever seen.
Daniel Jones had no time to react either, though. I know I said early in the very beginning of the podcast he was able to run that ball a few times, but that's why I said a few times. He could not he couldn't get out the pocket, really. That O-line was getting absolutely dominated. It was insane. It was speechless.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that, honestly.
I was beyond shocked. I've never seen anything like that, and that was just pure dominance at that point by the Cowboys.
I was trying to find the video that I sent people earlier, but it was like a funny ass video of God, what's his name? Of Micah Parsons chasing him, and they did like one where it was like Tom and Jerry, and it was like, dude, this man has no time at all to throw the ball. And then there was another
No.
one where it was like Giants offensive lineman. It's just like pillows lined up. I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, I've never seen anything like that ever.
It was
Like,
it was
it
embarrassing.
wasn't even like they were playing. Like, I told my dad, I was like, dude, I don't even think that fucking offensive line specifically could have played in college. In college, they would have got their ass
Yeah.
whooped in the NCAA. Like, they looked
It was-
so bad. I've never seen any
Cody
like it.
Voisin could have been the starting center for that team. Let's just put that
Dude.
out there.
Oh my
Yes.
God. I was like,
You
what?
know, okay, it was straight up second. It was secondhand embarrassment at that point. You know, like when you watch a movie and you're kind of like cringing, you're like, man, this is just
Yeah.
embarrassing, even though I'm not
Yeah.
in it. That's how it was. It was
Yep.
secondhand embarrassment. The only thing, like I said, the only reason why Zach and I watched that game was for you, Keaton. We were
For you,
rooting for
Keaton.
you, man. We're rooting for you to beat Diego. And
Bless
you
up,
came so
man.
close.
There was another
Yeah.
video. I think I saw it was on Instagram Shorts, and it was like Daniel Jones, and it's like this random ass fucking meme of like this little kid just running around like these people and like running from people, like just like random like tag or something. I'm like, dude, like that's literally what it was.
Scooby Doo
Like,
ass
he-
chase
No.
scene.
Yeah, dude, he was getting chased the whole game. I've never seen anything like it. I felt bad
Daniel
for him.
Jones is
honestly. I
all-
felt bad for him and Saquon. I'm like, dude, like you guys. I know Saquon turned the ball over. Horrible fucking turnover, by the way. I'm not gonna necessarily blame it on him, but it just was unfortunate. But
Yeah.
I felt bad for them. I'm like, you guys couldn't do anything. Literally nothing. Your offensive line failed you. Daniel
Jones
Jones
was
and
literally
Saquon
like-
Barkley. I am sorry, honestly. I hope that's not how
Dan-
it is this year.
Daniel Jones was all like zoink, Scoob, we got to get out of here.
Yeah. I was like, dude.
Yeah. Well, speaking of old man Jenkins, let's talk a little
boy.
bit about Aaron Rodgers.
So, Aaron
well,
Rodgers,
look.
that was shocking. That was unexpected. I was not expecting that. I've seen a lot of memes, and yeah,
Never has a player been hyped up in NFL history to the extent that he has been, in terms of what he's bringing to the culture. I mean, fuck, HBO did Hard Knocks just
I
for
was really
Aaron
about to
Rodgers.
say, Hard Knocks,
did.
all those interviews. The interview before
I mean,
the game. I'm like,
yes,
dude.
and then
oh
him
my
bringing out the
God.
flag.
Yes,
there's never
yes,
been
running
such
down the
a
tunnel.
build-
I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
that was.
there's never
it
been
was-
such a build up and anticipation for such a moment. And then I actually didn't even see the injury. I was still like kind of intermittently
yes,
like
you
making
can pull that
dinner
up.
and stuff
'cause
like
it's
that.
Nasty.
Yeah. I will go
Fucking
ahead and pull that up right now. Anthony, you
I mean-
you were gonna say something.
Yeah,
about
so
that.
it was actually kind of funny though. So I saw a TikTok meme. I showed it to Zach, and Zach was dying last night. It was it just kept popping up on my For You page. It was of Aaron Rodgers running out the tunnel with the flag, and it said Aaron Rodgers as a Jet highlights, and then it was just him running out with the flag, and then it said,
Yes.
and then it went to black screen
Yeah.
and said, "Thanks for watching."
Thanks for watching. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dude,
And
there's so,
I
and
was
it's,
like, man, that's foul.
Uh,
And it sucks. It sucks because, okay, honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers is a dick. Oh yeah, here's the clip right here. We'll get back to this in a sec. Does it show like the back view? Yep.
Oh!
Right there it is.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
oh
Funny because right after this though, right after that
Oh,
injury,
God.
he stood right back up. He stood up.
Oh,
He
dude.
looked fine, and then he just sat right back down instantly.
well, Achilles
going.
and ACLs are different, right? I should know
Yes.
that.
We would hope.
We would
But
really hope.
well, like there was a play where Klay Thompson tore his Achilles. No, he might have torn his ACL. Maybe I'm tripping.
Zach,
now.
do you remember?
We'll stop. I think he tore his
Pretty
ACL,
sure
but
Clay tore his Achilles.
no, I think the second time
Anyways.
he tore his Achilles, but it's fine.
Mm.
He tore something.
Achilles are scary, man.
Yeah.
It's
And-
just let me just say real quick while we're on this subject, it's shitty for me to see that Aaron, this might be it for Aaron Rodgers. We might have just witnessed the end of a 20-year era. He didn't get that big send off like Tom Brady. He didn't get to win that ring, which he wasn't going to win that ring, but that's neither here nor there. He didn't get to fulfill what he wanted.
He didn't get to
Right.
play.
No, and
I
he
just-
and he he'll get
He
a
didn't even
bag.
get a chance to show if he could win
Yes.
a ring.
Yes.
Exactly. And so now he'll forever be labeled as a regular season quarterback because he couldn't do it in the playoffs, which I don't think he would have ever beat those allegations. But I do, some part of me feels like, fuck, man, it would have been cool to
gotta
see
feel
him
for him.
just define a
Yeah.
different era.
And it's funny too,
Right.
because I'm not a big fan of Aaron Rodgers. I personally think he's a dick, like I was saying before. But overall, though, like seeing him go from the Packers, from him, like he was miserable with Green Bay at the end there. He did not want to be there. He truly looked happy being in New York. He truly looked happy being a part of the Jets franchise and their community and everything. And it sucks to see him go like that. I truly was hoping great things for him. I thought he was going to honestly just do great. I didn't think he was going to win the Super Bowl or anything, but I thought he was actually going to do really, really well. And I was really excited for him. And it sucks.
Right.
Yeah. Like this is a 20-year era now that it could all be gone now. Because
Could be done.
in our last episode, I mentioned this is the first year that we will not be seeing Tom Brady play in the NFL, which is crazy. But there's only one quarterback left now in that whole group
Era.
of just
and it's
era. And that is
and
Aaron
it's
Rodgers. And we just
A-Rod.
potentially just watched him go just like that. And
weird.
that sucks. It's
It's
weird.
weird.
And it
R.I.P.,
sucks.
man.
It speaks to
Sucks.
the validity.
Yeah.
Well,
Crazy week
you
one.
know-
I'll say that.
week one, real quick, I'll just leave off on this. I've said it before, and Zach will back me up. I've always said that Josh Allen is fraudulent. He is a mistake-prone mess. And granted, I said this before. Talent, like Braun, isn't equal to brains. He has all the talent with the arm and the legs. He does not have the mentality to be a quarterback of that like stature. He doesn't. I'm sorry. 84 total turnovers in 73 games is the most by any player in the NFL since 2017. He leads the league in turnovers, both fumbles,
Really bad.
interceptions. And you know, we won't harp too much on this, but I wonder how long they're going to keep just saying, it's okay. Josh Allen is this. It's okay. Josh Allen is, at what point are you just going to cut your losses and go, dude, he's not the guy?
It's getting close.
Because I'm getting to that point. So
Honestly, I think him and Justin Herbert are on the same level. They're on the hot seat low key.
mhm.
I think
I
their
personally
time to
think
win, specifically the Bills, the time to win for the Bills is now. I don't know about the Chargers, but you need to at least make the playoffs and win a fucking game for the Chargers.
They need
game.
something.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to say real quick, I think Josh Allen, I still think he's a good quarterback. I think that he and the Bills, it was a fluke. I'm just going to say week one, tons of fucking flukes, right? We can all agree that
Yeah.
there have been so many.
Yeah.
In the past, has Josh Allen and the Bills done great? Yes. Have they won the Super Bowl? No. But they've done great, and we've seen it. I personally think this is just going to be a fluke. Every single team has got him. We've seen, like, for fuck's sakes, the Bengals, right? Same shit. Joe Burrow supposed to be the number 2 or number 3 quarterback, either in front of Josh Allen or behind Josh Allen, right? It's the same shit. I think,
Right.
like I said, I think it's going to be a fluke. I think I'm excited to see what he's going to do in week 2. And after week 2 or week 3, or maybe even week 4, depending on how Josh Allen does, if he does shitty, then I'll start questioning it. But for right now, I'm going to continue to say he's a good quarterback. It's a fluke. Joe Burrow, same thing. I'm going to leave it off on that.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has a pro-style body with a Wyoming education. That's really who he is, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's who he is,
I
bro.
see it. That's
Perfect
so good.
size, super athletic, Wyoming education. You got the IQ of a random dude who's sitting in the Wyoming hills. Like, come on.
Just
man.
a random.
And that Bills team is so good, too. It's like, honestly, a shame. It reminds me exactly of the Bills in, the 80s? I think it was the 80s where they were
Jim
really
Kelly,
good,
4
but could
straight.
never win. Yeah.
Well,
Anyways, let's move on
now
to
that
our
we've
last segment.
now that we've talked a little bit about the week 1 recap, I want to get into a little segment we're going to start doing regularly. We're going to do our power rankings for this week. So I will go ahead and share my screen and yeah.
All right.
So
let's get into it.
Obviously 10 is the worst. Well, 10 is 10th best. 1 is all the way the best. I'm willing to.
And for those who are not actually watching this right now,
I don't think
it is like basically an S to an F tier ranking, 1 through 10. It's 1 at the top, 10 at the bottom.
Yep.
And
So
I think there should be 3 teams in the 1 tier.
Well,
And
we're
I think you
specifically.
and I are on the same page.
This isn't
We're
tiers.
specifically
This is
going
like
off.
1 through 10.
We're
Right.
going off of like
So
week 2.
But we're
This
gonna
is
have to
basically
put
like
multiple teams into like these tier levels.
Yes.
yeah, well, kind of. No, not all of them. I could not just get like all the 10 teams I wanted to put in. This is just
this
all
is
the
for
teams.
week
so
2,
we can,
right? This is for
Yes.
week 2.
This is going
Okay,
into week
yeah.
2. What do the power rankings outlook look like?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're
I-
just doing a top 10 then?
Yes,
Let's
we're
just-
just doing a top
yeah.
10. And
Oh,
so
okay,
I
let's
think
just
Let's do it.
I
let's
think
just start
San
with the
Francisco-
Ravens. San Francisco. Then let's just go to the Ravens. Go in and
Well,
out like that.
Yeah, we're not. I'm like personally, I'm not putting the Bears
Oh,
on this
okay.
list. I'm saying
Yeah.
I think the Niners are the best team in the NFL. I believe the Cowboys are somewhere in this area of the
Yeah.
third,
I
fourth,
see
or
what
fifth
you're
best
meaning
team.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, we're making a power rankings list.
1 through 10.
Yes, I'm personally willing to put, just because of the sheer roster. I think the Niners are there. I think the Niners are complete.
Yes.
I think they're hungry. I think they want a championship. I think they'll get there, but injuries will get the better of them.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I don't know about you guys, but I'm inclined to put the Eagles too. But I do know they had a bad week against the Patriots, and I don't know if there's a Super Bowl hangover. So I almost
like
want
them
to
at
move them
3.
down to
I
3.
like them at 3.
Eagles are playing the Vikings as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you see where I'm going here?
Yes.
Yes.
Put them at 2. That's
Because-
exactly how I have my power ranking.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Now,
because
this
the
is where it
defense
gets
to
a
me,
little crazy, I think. I have my team in mind, but I kind of want to hear who you guys are thinking.
I personally, just off the strength of roster, I'm going here.
Yes.
I'm going to go Miami
Yes.
as well. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And my
Tell us.
reasoning for that
Okay.
as well, real quick, is because every fucking year when the Patriots play the fucking Dolphins, we get destroyed. We absolutely get destroyed. There is no question about it. It's like every single time they see the Dolphins, we're like, oh, well, time to lose. Time to throw fucking 5 interceptions. Like, let's fucking do it. Fumble the ball.
Yeah.
Every single year. So I'm putting Miami there too. I agree.
Yeah, I do
Just
too.
snuck that in there real quick.
Oh, what the fuck is that doing there? My bad. All right, now we're good.
Seahawks number 1.
Now we're
Yes,
talking.
Seahawks. Gino for MVP. So
all right,
okay, so
I have my
we are
next
all in
team,
agreement.
But this is where
1 through
things
4.
get fucking whack.
This is where things get really confusing because
Yeah.
you have the Bills, you have the Ravens, you have the Lions, you have the Chiefs. I am inclined, and Anthony, I don't know about you because Zach's already has his set. I'm inclined to put the Chiefs at 5.
Yep. That's what I have as
I
well.
could agree.
Okay. What about your 6 team, Anthony? I'm curious because we're all in agreement for 1 through 5. I don't know if you guys can fully see, but we have Ravens, and then here we have Steelers, Bills, and Buccaneers. Which there you go.
Yep.
This is where shit is gonna get interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Eagles are already up there, right?
Eagles are up there at 3.
Yeah.
I am
was looking-
inclined. I am inclined to still, after all this shit talking I've performed on them, I'm still inclined to throw the Bills at 6.
I was looking at the Bills as well, and they're going against the Raiders. Sure, Raiders, they looked great on week 1 for sure, but their history and everything, like I don't know. I just don't trust the Raiders completely, and I would have to go with the Bills as well on that. I think the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is where my list changes from you guys.
Okay. Well, what did you
Okay.
have?
Guess who I have? Undefeated team.
Okay, well that's half the fucking NFL team. So let's not.
Yeah, but-
did you go?
okay.
Did you go Detroit?
Who should be in this top 10 that's undefeated? No. I didn't go Detroit.
Did you go Green
You're
Bay?
forgetting a quarterback that you love.
You go in.
I went
I
Jags.
love. You know what?
Ah.
You're right about
I
that.
went Jags.
That's a really good point. I also this is an old Jags
Dude,
logo,
they're
which
a
is funny, but
complete team, man. And they should win
You're
that
right.
division with ease. With ease. Shouldn't
Yeah.
be a question.
they should. That I'm not gonna lie. The way that they look, I like the Colts, and I think they have a really good quarterback in Anthony Richardson. He played well. Don't get me wrong. He looked the
did.
best out of any quarterback, but
He did. For
I
sure.
think,
Rookie
dude, I
quarterback,
think
that is.
Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is taking such a big step right now.
Him.
And
He's him.
as a hater, as a former Trevor Lawrence hater, I'm turning the tide. All right, my sins have been washed anew, and now
Yep.
I'm changing my hatership
I like that.
towards
I like that.
pick six Fields. So, well, look, I know that this team had a hangover, and I know that they're capable of bouncing back. I also have them in my final in the Super Bowl, so I want to put the Bengals at 7. I don't know if you guys wanted to do that
Yeah.
higher.
I kind of have the Bengals and Bills.
Yeah, I have
Where you
Bengals
could
and
switch
Bills
them.
around. You could
I don't
swap
know.
them.
I feel like
I would.
feel like
Yeah,
I feel like these 4 teams in my head you could swap around, but I feel like Bengals and the Bills are specifically 2 teams where you could swap pretty easily. Like they're
Yeah.
both in the same kind of like tier right now. I think they're going to bounce back, but you can't put them in that top 5, top 6 area yet. But
That's
they're
fair.
also
That's
very
fair.
competitive, and I think the Bengals again are going to be better than the Bills. So I like that.
I do agree.
So I have
Well,
the
so-
Bengals higher as well, and then this
I
is
would
where
then
I
put-
think my list is going to differ from you guys again.
I would then put maybe the Bills at 8 then, if we're putting Bengals then at 7. But my 9 pick is what's interesting.
Okay. Well, let me hear your 9 pick because I have a 9 pick in my head.
See, I'm torn. There are 2 teams right now.
Is it
And-
that are these the 2 teams?
No,
Okay.
Not for me.
I
Hmm.
was gonna say Falcons.
Oh, I like where your head's at. Falcons.
I was gonna say
at
Falcons.
9. At 9.
Dude.
Okay.
Dude, I'm sorry. Their running backs. Oh my fucking god!
Bijan looks good.
Insane. Bijan and what's his name again? Algier.
Tyler
something like that?
Algier.
Tyler
Algier.
Algier. Those 2 combined
Algier, yeah.
put up
Yeah,
in
yeah.
fantasy at least. I'm talking fantasy terms right now. Those 2 combined put up 43 points. 43, 44 points
Yeah.
combined. Both
Yeah.
in the 20 bombs.
I'm
sorry.
I feel like
I
any running back to be able to get any running back do that in Carolina. Carolina is the worst team in the NFL. I genuinely think so. They're
Carolina?
awful. They're awful every.
Well, I do see your point with the Falcons about being where they're at. I do. To me, it was like running backs can only get you so far, and we kind of saw that with the Giants. It was like once Daniel Jones got really in the mix, it's just like it was all Saquon, and then Daniel Jones gets in the mix, and the team just kind of falters. And so
fair.
I
That's fair,
did
but
not
I'm
see
just-
much.
They
Yeah.
looked good though.
They did. I did not see enough out of Desmond Ridder this week to say, for me
Okay.
personally, confidently, that I'd put him in my top 10. For you, though, I would leave
No.
him. The team that I would have put in my top 10 is
Packers
I'm
is
going.
up there though too.
I'm going here. I'm going Detroit in
Mm.
my top 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
A big.
I
the
agree. I
offense-
like that.
The offense looked lackluster. Jared Goff didn't have his type of game, but obviously, it's week 1. Week 1 is always just it's hit or miss. It's like early baseball. It's just you can't ever predict it.
Right.
The team that I personally would have gone, or where I want to go for my 10th, is here.
Not
I like
I
that.
not doing it.
I like that.
Not fucking
See-
doing it. They're not better than the Ravens.
who I think
They
they are.
haven't
I
shown
think they have
enough. No.
they have a
no,
history
no.
of this.
No.
What did
Ethan,
the Ravens? The Ravens lost J.K. Dobbins, and
That is
personally,
an
I just
overreaction right there. That is an
this is not an
overreaction.
overreaction.
Yes, it is.
I don't believe
Jordan
that
Love
is.
played
I don't.
one game. He started one game and did well.
He looked good. He looked good in the preseason, and he looked extremely good.
But who did they just play?
Hey,
Who did they play? Who did they play?
Shichajo,
Dude, they played a top 5 worst throwing
Wait.
defense in the league.
Wait, you can't say that as if the Ravens didn't play the fucking Texans this week.
Yeah,
What
what
did
did the Ravens?
CJ Stroud played like shit, and Lamar Jackson played like
And they
shit.
beat him 25-9, beating or playing like shit.
What was it? What was the score of the Packers game?
Packers game was 38-20 against the Bears.
Dude,
Jordan Love went
there's
ballistic.
another team too that we're
He did.
forgetting for sure.
I'm not putting the Chargers there.
No,
If that's where your head's at. Where's your head at?
Ravens. Put Ravens at 10, please. For
Okay.
me.
Okay. Here. We'll do that. We'll
I
do
like that. And then there's one more team that I feel like we are forgetting.
The Jets.
No.
The Jets, the Vikings.
This was my next explanation. I would put the Jets there if they didn't lose A-Rod. So the Jets are like 11-12.
No way you're putting the Saints.
One of the first teams that are there. Yes.
The Seahawks?
Yes.
You're putting the Browns?
Yes.
Oh, the Browns.
Are better than the Falcons.
Overreactor. Overreactor.
Oh,
overreactor.
No.
They have such a complete roster. They could do it. They could make the playoffs. They could fucking do that.
Not gonna lie though, the Browns do play the Steelers in week 2.
That's pot.
Not
that's pot.
say,
that's pot. That's pot beat kettle. You can't say that me saying
do it. They can make the playoffs, and I think they will make the playoffs.
So could the Packers. I think realistically these three teams right here are all toss-ups. I could see the argument. But if you're gonna criticize me about overreactions
fine.
and then go Browns, it's the same concept. So here's what we're gonna do.
I'll give you the Browns were very much so hyped going into the season compared to Green Bay.
True.
So there was hype already built for the Browns, and they lived up to it.
It's true, but I'll give
it to them. But I think it's more of an overreaction with Green Bay because we knew this going into this season with the Browns. They were going to be very good on defense, run the ball.
True.
Deshaun Watson will get his fucking foot massage and throw a couple touchdowns. That's what he's going to fucking do. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think the Browns have and this will be my argument for you for why Green Bay should be there. I think the Browns have a much harder road to getting into the playoffs because of their fucking division and the AFC's stacked. But
it is stacked.
But looking at it right now, they just beat the Bengals. Again, that could have been a fucking deep playoff run slumber. But I just think that they have a better overall roster than Green Bay. And I'm a Ravens hater. I fucking hate the Ravens. So I had them 10.
Okay.
And I had the Lions 9. And that's my opinion. But I also can see why you put Green Bay there. They look decent too. I just don't think they're going to win their division. And I think that the Vikings are going to be one of those teams that are sneaky competitive, but win and lose a lot of close games.
Yeah.
So I think that's like one of those teams that like it's hard to get past, and they're going to play them twice. They're going to play the Lions twice. And if we have the Lions better than Green Bay, I think that could be difficult as well. So both of their teams, I feel like you can swap Green Bay and the Browns, but it's really difficult for both of them, I feel like, right now to make the playoffs with their division. And the AFC specifically for the Browns is going to be super difficult to get in the playoffs. But I think they could do it, and it might be an overreaction because I like the Browns. But I fucking hate the Ravens, and I can't stand Packers. I really am praying for their downfall. I like Jordan Love, but I just don't like the team in general. So that's my fucking rating.
Okay.
I think that our top 6, though, is solidified right now. 7 through 13, 14 is definitely up in the air.
If this team won, they could have been anywhere here. If they had won, they're sitting somewhere. But I don't think they're 10th. I don't know.
No.
The defense
right now,
just scares me.
Even the Jets, though.
Look at they lost last year.
Look at the Jets, though, too. If they didn't lose Aaron Rodgers at all, I don't even care. I don't even care if they would have lost that game. I still would have put them in that top 10.
Here's my question. Jets have Aaron Rodgers. Where are they? They got to be 7.
No, 7. I'm putting them at 7.
7.
I'm putting Jets at 7.
So you're going here.
7. To be honest, if the Jets win and they have Aaron Rodgers, I think they're better than the Jags.
Back at 9. Put the Bills with the Bengals. That's like if the Jets had Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers not get hurt, that's exactly how I would have had it.
No. I think the Jets are better than the Jags with Aaron Rodgers. Okay,
Mm.
also, shout out the fucking Dolphins, man. Never would
Yeah.
I ever fucking
Yeah.
thought that the Dolphins would be the best AFC team in our rankings going into week 2.
God, dude, they look fucking
crazy.
good. They look
They
so
look really good.
But
They look solid.
I like
The
that.
defense is
I think
holes,
there's
but
definitely some teams where we could swap in and out. Again, Bengals, Bills, Green Bay, Browns. Again, the Browns have a difficult road to playoffs. Green Bay
I would
definitely
say
has
this
it
Keaton.
easier, but I just don't. I'm not fucking joining or hopping on the Jordan Love bandwagon after one game, where I know the Browns have players that are all pros, and Deshaun.
yeah,
And I think we're all kind of like in agreement here. We're Ravens haters. I know Ant and I are. We don't like the Ravens. Keaton, I know. I don't think you like Lamar, right? You're not the biggest.
mean, he's
Ravens
on my-
fan.
no,
Not that
I don't love Lamar. If you make Lamar a
saying
pure
that you
passer, I don't
necessarily
think he's
fucking
good.
hate him, but
No,
I think
no.
that you're not necessarily like a big fan of him. So I think
No.
that's decent. I
Yeah.
I would not
I
put
hate
the
Lamar
Falcons.
so much.
Me personally
Sorry,
would
go.
not put the Falcons above any in the 10
Yeah.
ranking.
I
I
would have
would have
probably
them
just
13,
because I haven't
14.
seen enough. Yeah, I would
No,
have too.
that's fine.
But
That's fine.
I think if the Chargers win, they're here. They're in like 8, 9, 10 range. But because they lost and they
agree.
looked kind of shitty doing it, like the offense looked good, the defense looked like what we expected. To me, they kind of sit at like that 11, 12 range. But then you still have all these teams that are just sitting here where you're questioning, how good
Bengals
are
look-
they?
Yeah.
So anyway, well, that's
would
our
save
power
that, Keaton.
rankings. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna save this and download this, but
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, let's keep doing that. I really like that segment. That's fun. That's
I do
awesome.
too. Let's move in a little bit before we wrap this up to our week 2 peer review. Are there any
I have it up.
games?
I have it
Yeah.
up right here. Can we do the meme? Can we do a meme of the matchup real quick?
Yes, we can.
All right. Here we go. Giants and
Yeah.
Cardinals. Here we go.
Ugh. Cardinals should
Yeah.
get walloped.
Now, question is, do I start Marquise Brown in fantasy? They're playing
Marquise Brownlee.
against the poopy Giants.
Wait,
you know,
Anthony, you're gonna say that's the meme matchup when the Colts and Texans play each other for
I
the
didn't
battle
even
of
see- I'm not even.
the
I'm not even
for
gonna lie.
the-
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that one.
for the battle of Caleb Williams sweepstakes.
Colt and Texans. Damn.
That's a shit ass
no.
matchup.
That's
All
horrible,
5.
too.
There's gonna be 5 total viewers, except for the people watching on Red Zone.
Oh, funny enough, Atlanta and Green Bay play each other.
That's gonna
That'll
be
be
good. Well,
definitely
there we
one
go.
of those matchups that we
I
want
think-
to watch.
I
There's
think
our-
it's gonna be a great game. Yeah.
There's our week
Okay,
10 right there.
and then Thursday is Minnesota versus Philly. Philly should
Mm.
run the table.
Philly should
in that game.
smoke them, dude.
I hope AJ
Seattle,
Brown gets
Detroit.
14 points.
Seattle,
Detroit,
Detroit. That's a huge.
Baltimore,
That's a
Cincy.
huge
Yeah.
fucking game.
Yeah, those are really good games.
It's gonna be a really
Dallas,
good week.
New York, I think will be a good game. And funny enough,
Yeah.
I really think that the Miami New England game's gonna be close.
I'm
New
gonna
England
be
plays all of their division opponents really well.
not the Dolphins, dude. I'm sorry, we don't. Not against them every fucking year. I'll
Damn.
obviously catch me watching that game, but I'm gonna be screaming at that TV a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, if Baltimore beats Cincy and Cincy starts 0-2,
That's
they
bad.
might
That's bad
drop
news,
out of
Bears.
our
That's bad news. That's bad
I'm
news.
dropping out of. I'll drop them out of the top 10 because I already have.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
Ravens are my fringe 10 team.
Yeah.
oh
And I'm
shit,
sorry,
we
you
just missed
can't-
this game. Kansas City versus Jacksonville. That might be the game of the fucking week.
That's gonna
If
be
Travis
there.
Kelsey is back, that's gonna be a good game.
He is. He's back.
He's back.
That one,
That's gonna
and
be a
I
great
think
game.
honestly,
He's
Keaton,
gonna
that
come back.
Seattle Detroit game is gonna be really good too.
I think that
We
one's gonna be great.
If we lose,
Okay.
a noose will be hung from my ceiling on next podcast.
Honestly, okay, another game
I
that
can't
I
go
think
All
is
the
0-2.
good
actually
games are at fucking 10 though. That kind of sucks.
I
Oh,
think
dude.
a game that I think is going to be really, really good is going to be the Jets and Cowboys game, though. I think honestly that's going to be a
Yeah.
great game.
Right. I
Travis
agree.
Kelsey is.
Defensive battle.
Yeah, it's going to be a big defensive battle for sure.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey. Everything
Wonder-
looks like he's coming back, but people are saying
Okay.
more people are talking about the fact that he's fucking Taylor Swift. So that's cool.
Jeez.
Well, he's
Congrats to
not. He
him.
got rejected by her. LOL.
Okay.
I don't know. Not according to
Yeah.
Twitter. So
Not according to Twitter. That's crazy.
So
yeah.
the Niners
But anyway,
start 3.5-point favorites against LA. Again, I'm
the
hammering
Rams.
that. Hammering
Yeah,
that.
the
Nice.
Rams.
All three Rams fans in attendance will be hoping for a miracle. But
Hunter Calkins.
Yeah.
yeah,
He won't even watch it,
So-
bro. He'll be busy.
I know. Well,
Unless he's not
you know,
working.
it's going to be a really good week. Obviously, Seahawks, in the sense of urgency, have to beat the Lions.
Yep. Get some
yeah.
momentum
so-
going again.
It's a momentum shift. Obviously, we're going to play you guys soon. So it's for me. It was frustrating to watch that game, knowing we're capable of more. But I understand that it's football, and there's not much I can fucking do. All I can do
Yeah.
is yell at John Schneider and Pete Carroll and put a hole through my wall. But I'm not Tyler Lewis, so.
No, that was the closet. That was the
True.
closet. Get it
True,
right.
true.
That's so
Sure.
foul. That's
So
foul.
anyway, well, yeah. Well, I think yeah, you're right. The Raiders Bills would be a decent matchup, but I think Chiefs Jags and Ravens Bengals are going to be really fantastic games.
And the Lions versus the Seahawks, man.
Yeah,
think
I'm
those are the
just
three main games.
I'm definitely a little worried about that.
Ooh,
Our
how are we
his-
feeling about the Raiders and Bills game?
Bills should smoke them, but I don't know
I
what
agree,
touchdown
but
anymore.
After
Yeah,
week
seriously.
one, though, if we're talking about that
We
slander
can't
a little
predict
bit,
anything
even
with
though
that guy.
I know that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing. He's hard to predict,
in-
but
it's in Buffalo, so
yeah,
We'll see.
Mm,
They should win by
from
10.
Vegas to Buffalo.
At
They
least 10.
I would.
They should win by
Yeah.
7. That's
Yeah. No, I agree.
that's the leeway I'm giving them.
We'll see, though. A lot of
if-
good games.
If
and
Raiders
we
go
will
up
continue to
2-0,
cover them next week.
big. Yeah, we'll definitely
Yep.
we'll now that we have kind of an outlook on our like the layout of how we want to do this and doing the power rankings, everything's going to start running really seamless. But I'm really excited for next week because dude, next week's just huge. You kind of get to feel exactly what the season's going to be
Momentum
like.
shifters. Yeah.
You can
Um,
kind of see it, who's defeated, who isn't.
Also,
Yeah.
be on the lookout for some guests are going to be on our podcast next coming weeks. We know for sure
Mhm.
that we're going to schedule Tyler Lewis, who's a Raiders fan. So that should be really interesting.
Yeah.
But we have a
The
couple of the boys that want to hop on. So be on the lookout for that.
Yep.
Hopefully this episode ran smoothly. Next week and the weeks prior should be a little bit more smooth just because now we kind of have like our schedule with it. But I think what we talked about this week was good. And next week should have some good recaps to it.
I
Yeah.
agree. You
Sweet.
guys good? Anything else you guys would like to talk about real quick? No?
No,
Niners,
go
Go
Hawks.
Patriots.
Fuck me, we're
Yeah.
gonna lose, but hey.
Yeah, I feel you there, Keaton.
Yeah.
Well,
So
all right.
We
Well,
shall see.
thank you everyone for tuning in to our segment and to our podcast episode. We really, really appreciate it. And we appreciate all the love and support. And
Absolutely.
and we will catch you guys at next
Yes,
week
sir.
into week 3.
yeah, sweet. Later.